Hi, welcome back to Cinesum. This movie name will be revealed at the end. Please watch till the end. The premise of the movie is set in 2067, when the world has been destroyed beyond recuperation because of climate change. All factory life has been defunct. With the lack of factory life, the quantum of oxygen in the air has dropped exponentially. People have to buy artificial oxygen to survive. 99% of the world has gone dark. People suffocate to death. In similar conditions, only one megacity in Australia has survived, and it is all thanks to a company called the Kronecker Pot that manufactures synthetic oxygen. Still, artificial oxygen causes a fatal complaint called the sickness over time. Humankind has bare times before it goes completely defunct. Ethan White is an occupant of the Australian megacity. He and his friend, Jude, work as mechanics in the Kronecker Pot. The pot is also working day and night to find a cure for the sickness and a way to save the world. Ethan's woman, Xanth, also has the sickness. Ethan works hard day and night to earn and buy her better oxygen. One day, as Ethan and Jude work in the lair, the Kronecker CTO of Flyspec Exploration, Regina Jackson, processes them to her office. There, she introduces herself to the two and tells them that humanity is going to die in many times if the conditions don't change. She also reveals that Ethan is the only bone who can help everyone and save humanity. Ethan is confused and does T believe her, but Regina insists he visit their lab. The lab has huge ministry. The lab croaker, named Billy Mitchell, introduces himself to Ethan and looks at Ethan's wrist device for an alternate. They also explain to him that Ethan's father, Dr. Richard White, started this design 20 times ago. The machine that stands in front of them is a time machine called the Chronicle. In the first ever trial done with the machine, they had to shoot radio swells into it to check what was on the other side. They set about through it that 407 times laterally. In 2474, the Earth would have enough foliage to maintain enough oxygen in the air and sustain mortal life. The people come to believe that if humanity still exists several hundred times laterally, it's likely that they've set up results to all the problems anguishing their reality. Still, a strange exertion thwarted the scientists there. The swells they transferred had come back reformed. When they decrypted it, they set about that someone from the future had transferred them the communication saying, "Shoot Ethan White." So now, Regina and the whole platoon want to shoot Ethan into the future for him to bring back the cure. Ethan is beyond surprised. He does T believe them and thinks that Regina is just pretending. Also, he does T want to leave his sick woman and go into the future, so he declines to help. Latterly, Ethan and Jude are at a restaurant where they buy crisp oxygen. Jude tries to convert Ethan to go through with the plan and help save humanity. Still, Ethan laughs at him, saying that he does T want to be like his father. Ethan hates his father for no way being there for him. 20 times ago, his father left home and went missing, while his mama was killed when he was a sprat. Since also, he has been brought up by Jude, a man whom Ethan regards as his aged family, as well as a stylish friend. He blames him for leaving his mama to complete the design, and does T want to follow in his path and leave his sick woman. Still, Jude manages to convert him, saying that the only way he can save his woman is by chancing a cure. Ethan reminisces of his 8th birthday when his father has bought him a strange box as a gift. As he puts his hands inside the box, a device latches onto his wrist, making him bleed. Richard had placed an endless hand device on his son. It has been numerous times, but Ethan does T know its use yet. Latterly at home, Ethan tells Xanth everything that happened during the day, and she too insists him to go. The following morning, Ethan scribes, "I'll find my way back to you on a essence flower," and leaves it beside Xanth. He also goes to Regina's office again and tells her that if he can find only one cure, they will have to give it first to Xanth. Regina accepts and takes him to the lab again. Dr. Mitchell shows him the suit that he has to wear before getting into the machine. As they begin to explain the charge to him, Ethan realizes that they don't have a plan. They've no indication what he'll see or who he'll meet at the other end. Still, after they put him in the suit, they give him an AI device called the Archie. Archie will show the lab Ethan's vitals at all times. It'll also help to navigate his position. Also, they eventually throw him into the machine. Outside, Ethan moves at high speed through time. He falls from the sky and lands in an unknown jungle. The disunion from the air causes his suit to catch fire, so he snappily gets out of it. Also, he looks around and is astounded by the beauty of nature. He finds that the world has fully changed. The trees and the natural oxygen are back. He walks in the direction Archie directs him and sees a cellarage door of some kind. But what catches his eyes is a shell that lies right in front of the door. Its cranium has a pellet hole in it. Likewise, he looks at the name label on it and is affrighted to see his own name. The shell is Ethan's. Ethan also finds the shell's Archie and plays the last recording on it. He hears a man say that this is the only way and shoots Ethan. Just also, the device's power goes off. He's affrighted, believing that this is the fate that awaits him. Also, he notices the shell's wrist device. It's identical to Ethan's, except the light glows green in the shell's device. But Ethan's has been red his whole life. That night, he lights a fire and eats wild berries. It turns out that the berries were toxic. Ethan vomits and starts to go unconscious. Ethan wakes up after a while and is surprised to see Jude in front of him. As it turns out, the lab saw Ethan's vitals dropping and assumed he was having a response to Bane. So, they snappily transferred Jude to the future with the cure to save him. Eventually, laterally, Ethan and Jude find that his shell remains there, which means his fate has an apostrophe T changed. They also use Archie to find another door. Some device reviews Ethan's eye and grants them access. When they go in, an examiner welcomes him. It asks him for a DNA sample. When he accepts it, his wrist device begins to work, making him bleed. After the blood test, it goes green. The lights to the room turn on, and they realize that they're in Chronikerp's lab, 407 times laterally. The time machine is in front of them too. Jude gets agitated because now they've the means to go back to the history, but Ethan does not suppose so, saying they have an apostrophe T changed anything, and he will end up dead, just like the dead Ethan. Ethan checks the system log and finds a holographic recording made by his father, who explains that the time machine was firstly designed to collect the oxygen data in the unborn Earth, and also transmit it back to the history. Still, when his father first started the time machine, he entered a communication asking him to shoot his son to the future. Despite his misgivings, he chose to do so and made a DNA verification then for Ethan. Soon, Ethan and Jude realize that the time machine will not be suitable to take them back, because its battery has nearly depleted after 407 times. What is worse is that the activation of the lab triggers a malfunction in its nuclear power core, hanging to unleash a nuclear explosion in just 4 hours. This means they have to find a way to fix the time machine and travel back before the explosion. Running out of time, they've to act snappily. Outdoors, they're surprised to find a ruined megacity covered with green shops, but inhabited with no humans, showing that Earth starts to recover itself after mortal extermination. Mortal configurations are scattered far and wide. Ethan gets to his woman's house only to find her bones, making him fall into despair. Jude tries to convert him to go back to the history, as the cure against the sickness does not feel to live indeed in the unborn world. Still, Jude's words make Ethan suspicious. He also turns on the gravel Archie to play the recording formerly again, from which he recognizes Jude's voice, and it seems Jude is exactly the bone who shot him. Jude raises his gun at Ethan, explosively denying that he'd shoot Ethan. Ethan eventually decides to complete the charge first, so with common sweats, they manage to repair the power core and also return to the lab. Now the Chronicle system works and they should be suitable to return to the history. They just need to stay 37 twinkles till portal launch. Once the preamble reaches 0, the gate will tether to 2067 for roughly 30 seconds. Still, Ethan still finds his body remains behind a door at the same position, which implies that they have not made any changes to the future. In order to figure out the verity, Ethan pulls out the battery of his current Archie and puts it onto the gravel bone. In that way, he gets access to another videotape, in which Ethan is assured that his future Tone will be killed by Jude. Jude also confesses that there's no stopgap of changing the future, and he's trying to cover Ethan. Chancing it hard to believe, Ethan locks his family up in a room, also plays back his father's holographic log from the day he failed. He soon discovers a discussion between the Chronikerp's CTO, Regina Jackson, and his father. It's shown that Ethan's father wanted to use the time machine to save all humanity, by chancing the cure, But the CTO only intended to use the machine to flee from the dying time, with some chosen many. Still, whichever plan they choose, someone must travel into the future and turn on the time machine to safely shoot living matter through time. It requires a functional link from both sides in order to stop the CTO with her plan. His father locks the time machine and sets Ethan's DNA as the verification key. In wrathfulness at what Ethan's father just did, the CTO killed him incontinently. She also orders Jude to kill Ethan's mama and be a guardian to him, so one day they can use Ethan's wristband to get access to the future. Ethan is beyond surprised. The man he allowed of as his family turned out to be the Bone, who killed his mama and is about to kill him too. He also realizes that he has misknew his father, who did not designedly abandon the family. Knowing that Regina wants to bring a chosen many into the future, Ethan tries to shut the time machine down, but Jude rushes to stop Ethan and reveals that he is assigned then by the CTO to ensure that Ethan is transferred in time to repair the power failure. Once Ethan activates the time machine, he should kill Ethan. Still, Jude has formed close emotional relations with Ethan over the times. Seeing his family such like friend in that state because of him, he's guilt-ridden. So, rather of shooting Ethan, he shoots himself dead. In rage and remorse, Ethan is determined to fulfill his father's dying want, which is to find the cure and save the dying humans. He looks into the examiner and finds the veritably first communication written by his father. He deduces that the communication shoot Ethan White was transferred by himself. Hence, he codes in the communication again and sends it into the history, along with numerous other effects. Meanwhile, in the laboratory of the time 2067, the CTO with a group of privileged chosen people are staying anxiously for the time machine to be actuated. To their shock, still, the time machine sends back hundreds of defunct shops, along with a dupe of the recorded murder of Ethan's father. Soon later, the time machine is destroyed by Ethan, performing in the collapse of the CTO's plan. In the end, the CTO is arrested due to the murder. The shops transferred back to 2067 are cultivated to revitalize the earth. Ethan's woman also receives a flower transferred from him and understands his choice. While Ethan has to stay in the unborn world alone, he buries Jude and forgives him. A butterfly catches his attention and leads him again to the same entrance, where Ethan is happy to notice that the cadaver of his future Tone has gone. He rushes to take a look at the world outdoors and feels relieved to see a futuristic eco-friendly megacity in discrepancy to the vacated Bone. From earlier, his decision had changed the future of humanity. This is an Australian science fiction film called 2067. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to watch more cine summaries like this. Turn on notifications and press the like button to support us.